with all of us.
Yeah.
And we're missing 2 people, so not today.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it'd be great. So, do we have Q Mape on the show there on the line there, Jim? Q Mape from Iraq War Heroes, Afghanistan War Heroes, and warheroes.org. Or am I getting those websites right? Do we have him on the air, Jim? Jim? Do we have Q Mape?
Q has called in here. Q, are you out there? Q, are you out there? Can you hear us? Are we coming across?
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, great.
Good.
Okay. Q always has that really strong voice, which is
So let's
nice.
get the webs. I don't know if I got the websites right out. So let's introduce you, Q. From what's your website that you do for the soldiers to memorialize the soldiers?
IraqWarHeroes.org and also OurWarHeroes.org.
Mm-hmm.
IraqWarHeroes.org is dedicated to all the men and women that have served in our military and died in the war or as a result of the war in Iraq or Afghanistan.
Okay. So thank you for being on the show. And what's on your mind? And we know it's Memorial Day. And have you been able to cover more funerals than have occurred as a result of the war against ISIS and in the Middle East?
Yeah, Q, tell us give us some background.
No, funerals have been slow, which is really good.
Good, yeah.
The last 3 I attempted to go to, the family declined for me to photograph it, saying they have someone that does it, which was good, I guess. We are still losing men and women. We've had some losses not too long ago, like in a helicopter crash.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Currently, my number is up to 7,171, and I know I'm probably still missing some that die stateside. I don't get to know about them until someone from their family contacts me and says, "Hey, look, such and such should be listed there." And I received an email. One of the things that keeps me busy is people are always emailing me, and I'm making adjustments to the pages, adding photos to them, changing facts or changing stories. Sometimes the media puts out a story that isn't right, and whatever. I make adjustments in that. And what a lot of people don't know is if you go to my website, IraqWarHeroes.org, there's a link above. It says coalition names. Now, we were not, and we are not the only ones over there in Iraq and Afghanistan. There are others also. We've got a series of coalition nations. And I just got an email. Let me pull that up again. I just got an email the other day, and I'll read it out to you. It says, "Dear admin, lately I stumbled upon your page, www.iraqwarheroes.org, and I am totally amazed by this. It's hard to put into words when seeing all those names of the fallen heroes. Yesterday marked the 7th anniversary of the accident when Sergeant Orsolia Roth and Corporal Andres Del Nocchi, in parentheses says both promoted posthumous second lieutenant, lost their lives in Afghanistan. That's when I found your page. I saw that there are no photos of Andres, so I'm attaching a few for you, and the place where he is buried is written like Nimriak Yayes, and R is missing in my spelling. I can't thank you enough for not letting their memories drift away. Best regards, Second Lieutenant Monica B., Public Affairs Officer, Hungarian Defense Forces Military Administration and Central Registry Command."
Oh,
Wow.
That's touching.
So, 2 days later, of course, I took care of those pictures, got them posted. And I got another email from her. "Dear Q, thank you. It's nice to see they are being taken care of. I will keep an eye out for all of the other Hungarian heroes and send you stuff if I can find something." And then she also provided an address because I told her I'm going to send her one of my postcards.
Now, Q, is there a way for you to get the information from the Defense Department about people that have died as a result of the wars in Afghanistan? Is there a way to
Get a
list?
list.
Yeah.
Well, it goes like this. If it's our guys, our men and women, if they die in Iraq or in Afghanistan, even in Syria, I will get an email from the Department of Defense once the family has been notified. Then the DoD makes it public, and I'm on the list, so I get an email. Then the next process is I read the email, look and see where this person is from. I then create a page for that person and add them to my index.
Wow.
Then if the person is from Washington, Oregon, Northern Cal, or somewhere else that I can get into within a day or two driving, or I have to guess, well, then I will attempt to go to the memorial service and photograph it free for the families. If the person is a long drive away, I try to in either case, I always try to make contact either with the family or with the casualty assistance officer representing them, or any friends of theirs that I happen to find on, like, Facebook, to relay the message that I'd be, honored to come out and photograph the memorial service for the family. And then I go out and do it. If the distance isn't too great and I can't get a hold of anybody, then I would drive out there, and then I would be there early and then immediately contact the casualty assistance officer and let them know what it is I do. Let them know I protect the family's privacy, because the pictures of the family members I do not post on my website. Those pictures are still, though, taken just for the family. So I then, photograph the memorial service, and I come back home, and then I'll work on the photos. I select a few. A few could be anywhere from 5 to a couple of hundred that I will post on the tribute site, so those that couldn't attend the heroes' memorial service can get an idea that people did come out to honor him or her. Mm-hmm. And then I'll put together a DVD. Once a family sends me a mailing address, physical mailing address, then I'll send them a copy of the pictures.
Wow.
Which are the ones that include the personal ones with the family and the public ones.
Wow.
So, and in between funerals, I answer emails. I get lots of emails, some days more than others. This time of year, I get more than others. People sending me information. They'll have a name. Sometimes, actually, I'll just get somebody sending me a picture with no name, and some say, well, this is my brother. So first thing I do is look at the sender's name. Okay, so I look at the last name. I'll go down the list. I don't have anybody with that last name. Then eventually I'll write them back and say, look, I need to know a little more, like the first name, last name, And if somebody contacts me about a hero that is not listed, I don't just take their word for it. I can't, because that could get me in lots of trouble. I ask them to send me some links or send me to an obituary or something that I can look at and,
to confirm.
I also take whatever name that is, and I'll do a search at DoD, see if they put out an announcement about this particular soldier, airman, Marine, whatever, and see if maybe I didn't get the notification. If I don't see it listed there, definitely I ask for more information so I can look it up. Especially the ones that die at home, there's usually no DoD release on that. So,
wow.
Wow, Q, the work that you are doing is just awesome, and the dedication, honoring the men and women who have fought for this country, put themselves in harm's way. Freedom is not free.
Well, I hope you have a donation tag there so that it helps, because you're doing all this pretty much on your own. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't really get much funding from your website to do this, so it's kind of coming out of your pocket. Mm-hmm. And I hope you have
I try to work every day to make money to support my cause here.
Do you have a donation
know-
tag on your website?
I do have hang on a second. Yeah, I do have a place where people can click. Well, it says, there's a link that it says, click for some photos I shot honoring our heroes. If you click on that, it'll have a link. Let me look and see where that link is at. If you like what I'm doing and can help, please click here. So at the bottom of that list, there's a big line that says, if you like what I'm doing and can help, click here.
Well, yeah. And
Or you can just go to iraqwarheroes.org/help.
yeah, maybe do a donation tag so people can click on
Yeah.
that and help. Because you're paying this out of your own. You're honoring the troops, and you've been doing this for quite a long time, and we're so thankful to have you on the show.
Yes.
It's been an honor to have you on the show, and this is just tremendous work.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
A unique thing is if you go to my webpage, you don't find any ads or anything like that. And I'm really, I've got a donate thing on there. Way at the bottom of the page says missions and please help. I've got that. I don't have anything up on top of that because, I don't know, it just doesn't look right. And it's the same reason, I don't post ads and things like that because, if I go to a cemetery, I don't want somebody sitting there holding out their hand, and I definitely don't want to see a sign that says eat McDonald's. And the next stone says eat at Burger King. You know what I'm saying? A lot of tribute sites that I have visited, that's all I see is ads, and you don't see that on my sites because that's not what it's about.
Yeah, it's about showing tribute to these fallen soldiers. So it's a wonderful thing you do, and thank you for honoring the troops the way you are.
Have you ever heard of Decoration Day?
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
I think so. So who knows what that is?
They decorate the graves, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Now, I know...
You know what it's called today?
What do they call it today?
Memorial Day.
Oh, okay. All right, so they changed.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. Very good.
Memorial Day was used as early as the 1880s, but it wasn't much later. Matter of fact, I think it wasn't until 1971 where it actually became a federal holiday.
That's about right, I think.
Wow.
So, and one of the first recorded Memorial Days was actually a whole bunch of freed slaves that went back to properly bury soldiers that had been killed and dumped in mass graves.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was in the camps in Charleston, South Carolina.
That's where Don's from. Don's from Charleston, South Carolina.
1,000 recently freed slaves accompanied by regiments of the U.S. colored troops, including the Massachusetts 54th Infantry and a handful of white Charlestonians, gathered in the camp to concentrate the new proper burial site for the Union dead. The group sang hymns, gave readings, and distributed flowers around the ceremony. Matter of fact, they said the holiday founder picked May 30th because it was an odd day. But others say he picked it because the chances of something being a bloom is very high.
Wow.
Interesting things you can find out just digging around.
Yeah. Looking on Wikipedia and stuff like that.
So Russell Beeston, Beeston, he's from Govan, Glasgow in Scotland. He died in Iraq, August 27, 2003. He was serving with our troops. Christian, spelled with a K, Andrzejczyk, okay, I'm probably butchering his name. Anyhow, Magaziwa, Poland, also fighting on our side. He died August 21st, 2004. And the reason I'm kind of mentioning this is because while we are quick to talk about other countries and put them down, we forget there's a lot of them that are on our side that help us, like Major Carlos Barro Olero. He was from Madrid, Spain. So what I'm doing is here, I'm basically just scrolling down randomly at coalition names. David Dalzell from Bangor County, County Down, Ireland, killed February 4th, 2011. So,
yeah, some coalition troops, some British troops, and Spain and Poland, and you mentioned Hungary.
Canadians.
Oh, wow.
A lot of them.
Yeah, wow.
Not as big of a sacrifice as we put out. And we're still out there, and people forget. You turn on the news, you hardly hear anything about, what's going on. We're still at war.
I will also add that over this last year or so, without all that much fanfare and without any extra troops, our president gave the okay for military people at lower levels of command to make the decisions necessary to deal with ISIS, Islamic State. And over the last year or so, without an increase of troops, ISIS has been stomped out. We don't hear that very much. But
no, I tell you why. This is my opinion. You might put in your little disclaimer.
Okay, the views and opinions on the following program are those of the host, the guests, and the live callers. They do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Portland State University, KPSU Radio, or the participating sponsors, affiliates, or underwriters. Listener discretion is advised. Q, the mic's yours.
It's the general media. I think they hate our president so much that they're constantly waging war on him. They're constantly reporting just negative things, or anything that can be construed as being negative. And I also think that a certain group of people up at the Whitey House in that neck of the woods, they are so obsessed and so angry that an outsider came in that he can't do no right. He'll never be able to do it right. And I think, I think that they've been setting him up so bad all along. And I just hope he keeps at it. And you know what? So what? He screws up here and there. Verbally, I do that all the time.
Me too.
But, I got to keep going, But, yeah, that's my opinion. That's why you don't hear it. I mean, it's so rare that you hear anything positive anyhow, especially if it could be attributed to our president.
Well, President Trump is definitely an outsider. He's not part of the political establishment. He's not a politician or a career politician who's never had any trappings or experience. He's definitely an outsider, Q.
He is, and you know what? Most of our politicians should be outsiders. But you know what? They get into office and they twist things around, and then they stay and they never, ever, ever leave. I don't think our founding fathers meant this to be a career. I think back when in the days, that was supposed to be more of a volunteer thing. You go in and you try to do something positive for this country. No, I got to do positive for my pocketbook. I got to do positive for outside countries. You got to do positive for that. But they're not doing anything for our country. And they're just staying us, sucking us dry.
Well, and I think that this concept of the common good is they're not putting forward the common good, what's good for the nation, and they're pandering to their contributors and outside constituencies, not the actual good of the nation. They're putting their politics before the good of the nation, and that to me sickens me. There is no great statesmen that are putting the common good and the good of the nation before their own their own political ideology, and I would tend to agree in that regard.
Q, could I ask you a question, a thought I have had? It's not like term limits where you're allowed a certain amount, but it's the following concept. Once a person has been elected, the incumbents have a tremendous advantage in terms of publicity, often free mailing rights, free campaigning rights. They're always picked up in the news media, a tremendous advantage over a challenger. Maybe each time there's an election, the incumbent the law could be something like, instead of requiring 50.1%, each time you face an election, you've got to, like the second election, okay, you got to get 51% to be reelected, and then 5 years later, whatever, it's 52%. So it's a little bit easier for a challenger and a little harder for an incumbent.
Well, the only problem I would say about that, Jim, is that only half of the country votes. I mean, when I looked at the statistics, only...
About to get to that.
Well, let's let Q in.
Yeah,
Q.
yeah.
Q.
A lot of a lot of people are calling themselves Americans. They sit on their fat butts and do nothing. Or if they do vote, they will vote for whatever person is going to give them the biggest handout.
Okay.
I mean, seriously. Mm-hmm. We just had a local vote here. I really hate living in Portland when it comes to politics.
Okay.
But we just had another vote. I know that whatever I vote for ain't going to happen because there are not enough people or people like me that will even get up and go vote. And it only takes a very few, this stinky little crowd that occupies downtown, the metro area, that votes for stuff like more handouts and more taxes for the people that work. And those things seem to pass all the time. And if they happen to not pass, then there is a new fee on my water bill, a new fee in my gas bill, somewhere. Because government is not responsible, especially out here. And they don't care. Care less.
Well, and
Look at the stuff happening in Seattle now, the head tax. Seriously, if I were Amazon, I would say, blank you, pack up and totally leave the state. Or go to Eastern Washington or someplace.
What was the nature of the tax in Seattle, Q, again? What was that?
Oh, okay. So I think it was a few $100 per employee per year to help fund homelessness or some other stuff. Okay. And, most of those fundings are a scam, too, because if you pay $100 for homelessness, the bureaucracy takes $94, and the rest might buy somebody a meal.
And he brings this up because years ago I talked to Congresswoman Schawakowski from Chicago, and I asked her, I says, and this was back in 2002, so I'm sure it's a lot more now. I says, well, actually, how much would it cost to provide housing for the homeless and homelessness in the country? Back then, she said it was $55 billion, and that actually it was $5 billion, and then $50 billion was the cost for administration. So when he's saying that, $94 or $90 goes to the administration,
Overhead.
and really only $10 goes to the actual person to provide housing, he's right. Mm-hmm. That it's the bureaucracy that costs more money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
ahead,
when
Q.
it comes to that kind of stuff, I think government needs to get out of that business. I think if the town wants to help somebody, people volunteering can do it. I am so tired of the do-gooders by name, how they want me to always pay more, but they're not willing to open up their door.
I've done a lot for homeless people, but I'll be the first to say I've never allowed one in my house. And I've done a lot to help. But I've never done that. I'll just be honest.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Jim. Are you for or against the wall?
I think.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Or
okay,
against?
let me give you the best answer I can. There has to be security in the country, a combination of physical wall, electronic wall, and boots on the ground. Some combination such that there is security
Good,
in the country.
good.
And I'm
And
probably going to catch heck for that.
This is what I say. All the people that are against the wall and us securing our border, why do you not leave your doors open? I mean, I bet you those bums on the street and the homeless, they're two different categories,
Correct.
would be happy to come in your home and eat your food, sleep on your beds. Why are your doors not open?
Well, I'm the first. I'm the first to say I've done a lot for the homeless, but I've never, whether it's a failing on my part, a moral failing, a chickenness, whatever it is, I've never opened my house to a homeless person.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, you know, I mean, you bring up that you think that nonprofits or should deal with that. I think it needs to be a combination of nonprofits and government because nonprofits can't do it all by themselves. And because we've seen that that's been the case, that that's why they had the dungeons back in earlier parts of this country and the asylums. So there needs to be a partnership to deal with this problem, and I think it's a matter of tax dollar efficiency that this is ridiculous that they can't solve this problem. You think for the cost of the war and the bank bailout, you could have ended homelessness, provided for job training, paid for people's college that qualified to go to college, and given everyone $4 million and health care for all for the cost of the war and the bank bailout. And it would have been cheaper to do all of that than engage in the war.
We're running down on time. Q, I want you to get some thoughts in here.
Another quick answer on that is, if it weren't for public unions, we could have a bunch of them just walking down the street cleaning up for us for some money.
We're 28.
Instead of just taking it from the taxpayer, they could be doing something for the taxpayer and then become, self-efficient. I think that would be a good step, too. But anyhow, that's just my opinion. Hey, let's get back to Memorial Day.
Yeah, let's get back there, Q.
Some final thoughts on Memorial Day.
Originally, Memorial Day was on May 30th. And then, unfortunately, somebody says, well, I can't get a 3-day holiday if it's on the 30th each time. So they moved it to the last Monday so everybody can get that 3-day holiday and go barbecue and do all of that stuff. And the focus, if you watch TV and that, the focus is not on the men and women that fought for our country and gave their all.
It changed the focus.
It changed the focus, Hey, you can get a mattress cheap on Memorial Day. Well, I really don't want to sleep on Memorial Day. I want to remember some friends that died and gave their all. I want to remember some families that are now missing someone, that have an empty seat at their table. I want to remember brothers and sisters,
aunts and uncles and
that I will
grandparents.
no longer see, both real and not real.
Well, like I said, aunts and uncles and grandparents.
Yeah. And there's lots of them. And if you think about it, for every one soul that we lose and that we've lost in the war, there are at least 16 other people directly affected by this.
Wow.
They're all around us. And, we don't see because we're now focused on a mattress that's on sale for $1,000. It is sad.
Yeah, it is.
We don't see the sadness in the faces of World War II veterans sitting in a restaurant thinking about their buddies they lost in the trenches and how horrible that day was, or how horrible that night, because everything back then was so antiquated. The medical wasn't there. They lay there screaming, crying, sweating, bleeding, and they sat there and watched. Couldn't do much. Maybe put on a tourniquet or two. Yeah, they don't think about the folks that were over in Iraq when those IEDs go off and they watch their friend just kind of hit and blow up in pieces all over the place. And there isn't enough there for them to spring home and say, this is your father, this is your husband, this is your son. This is all I could bring home. Because people want to think about a stupid mattress. They forget about all of this. And it's sad. It just, it just makes me cry.
Yeah.
And, I'm reminded at least once a day that we've lost men and women over there, and that we're losing men and women now that have served our country honorably. And I try to remember that. And I try to, as many as possible, give honor to them. And I think if everyone paid tribute to at least a couple of people, family or non-family, that's given it all, what a better nation we might be, because we might have a different insight of what death is. We might have a big insight of what the cost of our freedom truly is.
Q, I want to thank you so much for being part of our show. We hope you can come back in a month ahead of the 4th of July and share more thoughts with us. Continue the fabulous work you are doing, honoring the people. All gave some, and some gave all. Q Madp.
Let's get your
Thank
website.
you very much for having me on, and I will, unless I'm running off someplace, I will talk to you again in about a month.
Let's get the websites out there, Q.
Yeah, website again.
IraqWarHeroes.org, or you can go to my multi-link page, OurWarHeroes.org.
Okay, thank you.
Q.
Thank you
very much,
very much,
Q.
and I bid you all a solemn Memorial Day.
Thank you, Q.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work. Thank you.
Hey, Portland.